Angeles Gladiators have got a full head of steam. What a strong start.
He just dashes on through players.
And Asher, all he has to do is clean up.
Billy!
The triple DPS and Shaz finds all the kills.
4 kills here starting to go in way of Philadelphia. Kills him again.
Poco get 3. It's a self-destruct bonanza.
It's time for the final match here. It's day 2, week 2. Are you guys ready? Welcome back, everybody. I am your host, Chris Puckett. We're getting a little quieter out here in the Blizzard Arena. I feel like fatigue may be setting in, but we need to get fired up now because we're going to close out strong. Welcome back to our desk. We got Crumbs alongside Reinforce, and Zoe, our insider, will join us once again. And already, 2 great matches. We're going into the third. As we look at the graphic here, Reinforce, catch us up from the beginning. How did it all start with the Battle of Texas between Dallas and Houston?
It started out with Dallas versus Houston, as we said. A slow, very slow Dallas versus a very mobile Houston Outlaws. We saw the dive comps coming through, Jake on the Genji.
Jake on the Genji getting the job done at the very end. Junkrat was on point as well throughout. And then Crumbs, we just wrapped up New York and Valiant.
Yeah, I did say that Valiant was going to take it, but it was not even close, really. New York just showed up big time when it came down to prepared strategy. When it came down to individual play, they just had it down.
Well, it's now time for our final match. I know Zoe is pumped up for this one. It's the Philadelphia Fusion going up against the hometown heroes of the LA Gladiators. And it's time to introduce our first team. Give it up for the Philadelphia Fusion. Carpe, don't look so happy, buddy. You're about to win again if you keep playing the way you did in your last match. Philly enters this one with a 2-1 record, and they come off a very big victory over San Francisco on yesterday.
Yes, and this squad, I love this squad. This squad can just be better from here as well. They're carried right now by their individual skill from Carpe and Shadowburn, Fraggy and Poco. Everyone is just shining on this Philadelphia team. And as the season progresses, we're going to see more strats, more tactics coming through. But right now, the individual skill on this roster is so promising.
Yeah, they were the team which arrived last year to the party, but they really stepped it up. And as Reinforce just said, there will be more improvement. This very Monday, they finally had their coach flying in. So Hui is now there. He's a Korean coach, and Hui will actually make a big impact on implementing their Korean players, Dayfly as well as Hotba, as Carpe is pretty integrated already, I would say.
And Hui was a big piece of that, right? Former FaZe coach, working alongside Carpe in the past, so we'll see what he can do here today.
And I know we ride the train of Poco and his self-destruct bombs, but I think you have to look at the combination, him and Fraggy, the tanks enabling Carpe and Shadowburn. Think of tanks creating space as if it was Zerg creep. The farther they go, everything else becomes that much easier for everyone else. It's these guys that make Carpe and Shadowburn have so much room to do their thing.
Keep your eyes on Poco. He's been practicing those Diva bombs, and boy, have they been effective. That is a look at the Philadelphia Fusion, but now it's time to introduce our team from Los Angeles. Give it up for the Purple Gladiators. Shields up, all smiles here from the Gladiators as it's gonna be the Finns leading the charge, the support duo of Big Goose and Shaz. Now this squad enters the match with a 1-1 record, and they played both sides of our leaderboard spectrum. They lost to Seoul, who's at the very top at 3-0, but were able to beat the Shanghai Dragons, who are still winless.
Exactly. You beat the strong, or you lose to the strongest team, and then you beat the weakest team. You don't really know where you lie on this spectrum. So this matchup here against the Philadelphia Fusion that is already starting to get some steam rolling will be an indication for us for both teams on where they're currently standing.
Yes, and I'm looking out for the squad today. They're starting out with Bishu, and it's going to be really rough for them comparing up with versus Carpe and Shadowburn. So I'm hoping to see some Surefoot today, maybe a triple DPS composition. We've seen them run it before. It was successful versus London. So as the game progresses, maybe a bit of spice from this team.
Yeah, we don't have it in game number 1. Where's Surefoot going to be in this lineup? Zoe, when you come into this matchup, what are you looking out for?
Oh, you know what? I mean, we've been praising the 2 support, Shaz and Big Goose, over and over, but I really want to give it to iRemix and Bishu. They're super reliable. They don't do those flashy plays, but you always know where they are. They always got your back. They always create that space, and they rarely make mistakes. So those are the guys I'm always going to keep my eye out for.
This is going to be a fantastic battle, and I do want to give a shout out to Remix. He's rocking Kobe Bryant's number. He said, when I found out I was playing in LA, I made sure I got that number on my jersey. Let's go into the matchup here and talk about preparation, because we know it's been a bit of 2 different stories. For the Gladiators, they've had plenty of time coming off their week 1 matches to prep for their first opponent in Philadelphia. Meanwhile, Philadelphia Fusion just played last night against the Shock. So Zoe, I want to start with you. How are the two teams feeling in terms of preparation coming in?
Well, I actually got to chat to the coach of the Gladiators, Jan, and he did say that he's not too worried going up against them because they're very readable. He felt like based on what players they're playing and the hero pools of each individual of those players, it's kind of obvious what they're going to do, so they're not too worried.
All right, Philly has a pretty deep lineup. We have the second smallest lineup coming in for the Gladiators with just 7 players on the team. So Reinforced, when it comes down to the individual matchups, who do you want to see fighting one-on-one today?
Well, Asher really needs to turn up in this game. We know that Carpe on Philadelphia is one of the best players in the league. And if the LA Gladiators want to get a win today, Asher needs to be the tracer that steps it up and puts him down.
All right, it's time to get the first map started. I was just told by production the games are ready to go. Are you guys ready? Let's send it backstage. We got Semler and Hex to bring us the final match here on day 2.
Puckett is so good at hyping people up. I feel like I want him at my wedding or something. You know, he's just gonna be like, "Are you guys ready?" And the whole crowd is just gonna go wild.
Yeah, I want to be my hype man, so everything I say, he's just like, yeah!
Everything you do, you need a Puckett with you, and he's got the pearly whites too. I mean, really, he is just a glorious human being. We're gonna take a look at the maps now for this match. It is the last match of the day here at the Overwatch League, and we're gonna be starting out on familiar territory, Hex. It's gonna be Junkertown to kick things off, and so more of the pirate ship. I mean, it is Los Angeles. You got a beautiful blue sea right out there.
Possibly we will see more air shots with tanks, just saw in our last match, which is just insanity. But yeah, Bastion is generally something you're going to run. See a lot of Widow. I mean, you can run a lot of different things, but people are choosing not to. It's pretty much a standard meta right now, even though it's outside of the norm meta on every other map.
Well, we already saw some clever strategies earlier today, and it has been a map that we have been seeing quite a bit of here, moving through into the second week of the Overwatch League. And so, I mean, we're going to get our map fly through here. You guys are going to get your eyes on the map, get a bit of an oversight on where the action is going to be happening. And this is usually the spot right here, the first point where a lot of those choke points get taken advantage of by the offense.
It's really important and how you finish that first point, especially for the offense, because your ideal situation is to set up on the bridge we just flew under so that you can get your offensive Bastion into place and hold this choke. It's really hard for the defense to get out up here, and if you have your Bastion in position up top, then they have to find a different way out because you're just doing covering fire all over the place.
So we saw quite the defense set up by Houston earlier when they played against the Fuel. So we'll have to see, are we going to have a bit more of the same here from the LA Gladiators, because it will be the Philadelphia Fusion on the offense, on the attack to start things off. And kind of cool to see Fraggy on his trademark Reinhardt. That would be fun to see, a bit of the shield up action.
I was so impressed with his Winston throughout the last week or so as well. I think everyone knows how good his Reinhardt is, how aggressively good his Reinhardt is. I mean, this man is someone who got an Earthshatter up before the control point unlocked in Control Center at some point in time. So, as Dusk was saying, this is kind of a benchmark game for both of these teams. Both had good performances and really bad performances. For the Gladiators, a 4 against Shanghai and 0-4 against Seoul could not be two different teams. So we're going to see exactly where these teams lie. And interesting strategy here as they're trying to poke around. Some teams will lay an ambush on the defenses, and I think that's what you saw them trying to set up.
Yeah, they were looking for it, and we might actually have that happening in a moment here. Poco kind of dancing around, trying to suss things out, and you do have well, his teammate Fraggy also setting it up with the halts. But already the game is up, and Los Angeles Gladiators, they've been spotted, and Philadelphia Fusion have something to go off of now.
Not the sneakiest of ambushes. Either Risa comes around the corner, is like, there's no one here, they must be around that corner, absolutely checks it out. And now they sacrificed all that good positioning that you generally get on the first bend by trying that ambush, and they never really pulled the trigger on it.
Hello. Gladiators right now, you know, they just need to shake it out a little bit. Get rid of the nerves, because if they are going to stumble here, this is not the place, not the time. They need a strong start, and so it is about setting up the defense now right in front of the capture point here.
Well, they're running a dive composition on the defense, so they have to find a moment when to say go. When do you actually dive in? You can't just be on roller skates getting pushed back the whole time. It seems like now is the time.
Asher looking for the flank, but already you got Carpe going to work. He's landing shots. Oh no! Carpe! No grappling hook to save him, and he walks himself right off a cliff. That's definitely not what Philadelphia Fusion we're looking for. But Poco, we're going to keep an eye on him now because he has the self-destruct ready to go. Yeah,
this man's self-destructs are already the things of legend. He's going to try to come in and knock more people off the edge. Speaking of off the edge, someone just went over there and got themselves back up. Self-destruct over top does find Asher, nowhere to hide.
I feel like we need to keep note on this. You know, we're just going to keep score. How many self-destructs can Poco actually land a kill with? And there's one. He is so incredibly consistent. It has been a talking point just because you do actually have a specialist here when you watch Poco. He has spent so much time perfecting the self-destruct slingshot is what we'll call it.
Yeah, he almost doesn't even want to show his self-destruct angles because he's the one who put in the work, doesn't want people copying his playbook necessarily, as this is Philadelphia continuing to push through. Both tanks down, now everyone's going to be late to the party. It's going to be difficult for the defense to set up in a good position here as they're already camping out that choke up top.
Yeah, trying to keep the pressure up exactly. Carpe going to create that space for his team, make it more difficult for Los Angeles Gladiators to challenge, and it's not looking like the LA Gladiators are interested at all in taking this fight. You hear it right there, the sound cue, that it has reached the first point. So we'll see now. We're moving to the street section, and already, at least Gladiators, they have control of the high ground.
So they decided to take control of the second high ground rather than trying to come out, and I think that's a smart choice. If you come out, you're already in bad position anyway, and essentially you're feeding ults, and if you lose that fight, you're giving up half of the second point push already.
So from Shadowburn's perspective, exactly, they need to try and force LA Gladiators here off of this high ground, off of this balcony. Shadowburn just chucking the nades out into the open, and we've already lost Carpe. That's a big one. It looks like Iremix was able to pancake him into the ground.
Yeah, and with Carpe being out of the mix, they don't have to worry about sight lines now, so they can just set up exactly where they want. They can spam this choke, and you see them, the defense actually rotating a little bit more forward now.
I like this. Poker's like, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and give up that high ground. That's all right. We'll just get on the payload where we actually need to be in the end. And so sure enough, we will have the drop. Iremix trying to create some space here and already decides to go for the ultimate, but he's going to get pushed out into the open, trying to stay on those squishy supports. And there it is. Asher, double pulse bomb for him. And Bishu picking up the kill on Boombox as well. So good use of the ultimates here from Los Angeles.
Yeah, able to take down the Orisa and the Orisa ultimate at the same time. Those drums do explode and show up in the kill feed. That's how important those drums can be. I suppose they get their own kill feed icon. And now Poco just looking for his angle. But the onus is going to be on the dive defense. It's up to them to take the fights and initiate. And right now, Philly's happy to just take the free push on the card.
Yeah, Poco just continuing to push it forward. I like that, the fact that he is just trying to maintain over here. He has the self-destruct locked and loaded, ready to go. Once again, he's going to go ahead and pick up the health pack, give himself a little room to move with that hydration. Looking for some chops. Not going to find them, though. He will be able to get back on top and try and help out his team, though, trying to put that pressure on. But so far, nothing for it. And Poco actually whiffs a self-destruct hex.
Which is more notable than his 3Ks, which have become commonplace here. The good thing for the Gladiators is that Big Goose's Valkyrie came out way later, and that's why they're able to reinforce this defense and push them all the way back. A nice hold so far here on second by LA.
Yeah, turning it around. I mean, LA, come on. We all saw what happened to the Valiant here on home turf. A little bit here on Gladiators to come up strong and actually pick up a map here in front of the home crowd. You don't want to let your fans down, that's for sure.
Don't be upset just because you picked the Valiant. Called out.
You know, Soon, Unko, big fan of Soon, and he is a beast. There's no getting around it, but yeah, it wasn't their day, that's for sure. Pine had something to say about that. Well, Asher, actually, there we go, was wondering when he was going to go ahead and put that pulse bomb to good use. And sure enough, the flank on Neptuno blindsides him.
A little bit of miscoordination there because you never want 3 people occupying the space of 1 hero right there, all clumped up. Asher didn't even need to aim, and you just see it, a big clump of white there, and starts spraying away. And they're pushed back yet again. Now time is running out here, Assembler. They're just over a minute and 15 seconds remaining.
He has been so quick charging up this pulse bomb, though.
He's got another.
Yeah, he's already got another. He just needs to wait for his blinks to reset so that he has a way in and out, basically to set up the play on the flank. Asher has been standing out. Hydration has got the Dragon Blade as well, and there we go. Sure enough, Asher decides to be surgical with his pulse bomb. Picks off Boombox to start, and this is just wasting more time.
Well, Hydration's got to be a little upset with his team there. They took all of his kills that were going to get him play of the game. He had no one to even go after. Pop the blade, push them all the way back. And more importantly, Los Angeles on their defense still sitting on 2 support ultimates. The other side of things, Philly's been banking up ults. They'll have nearly everything. Keep an eye on these 2 DPS all-stars for the Philadelphia Fusion. They can make things happen, and both have ultimate abilities ready.
Yeah, we're going to be looking for them to create the play. Neptuno goes ahead and pops the Valk to start, so they're still holding on to Boombox's Transcendence. Hydration will eventually get tased to death. No fun there, but Asher will get caught. No, we changed off his perspective, but he did pick up the kill on Fraggy.
Big Goose is trying to get back in here and resurrect people, but they were camping on those bodies. Hydration went down and is just now getting resurrected. Philadelphia has gotten to the much better end of this fight, and they should be able to roll through second, get a little extension on that clock.
Yeah, and in the nick of time as well. We go into overtime now, and they will be able to push it forward. not going to be possible here for Los Angeles Gladiators to challenge in any meaningful way, so it's going to be about setting up that third-point defense. But with so little time now for Philadelphia, this is looking fantastic for the Gladiators to have a strong first half.
It was just a positional thing right there, and in the Mercy meta right now, it is not if you die, it is where you die. And Hydration died a little bit out of position there, going for the dash as you often are as Genji. A Mercy in a dive composition has a tough job because people are dying all over the place, and you saw Big Goose simply couldn't get to Hydration in a meaningful enough time window that he has had an impact in the fight.
So the onus falls on Shaz now. He does have to transcend this, and there we go. We hear the Dragon Blade getting used by Hydration. He's going to be looking to chop him to bits and pieces. Poco backing off, doesn't want to have anything to do with that. And sure enough, Hydration only going to get the one, not even. Shadowburn instead, and it's actually Philadelphia who are finding the kills right now, starting to get a little out of control until Hydration steps in and takes down Neptuno.
Philadelphia has gotten both of the supports on the other side of things. Meanwhile, they will be rejoined by their Zenyatta All-Star and Boombox momentarily, so should have some more healing. Hydration down, and that is not where you want to be in a corner with an angry Winston down there. 10 kill streak from Fraggy. His Winston game has gone to the next level.
Yeah, he's showing some depth here as that main tank role. You know, if you've got Reinhardt in your back pocket, you don't even need to use him, and yet you are standing out on Winston. That really gives your team, well, the tools necessary to pick up these wins and to hang in these fights. Philadelphia now, they continue to move forward.
They are going to have Carpe. That's why he's lurking around up here, trying to crouch so that no one can hear him. He does get spotted out, but wow! The blink and a butt to the face takes down Asher.
And he's looking for the D-Mech as well, but I think Big Goose is going to be in position to help out. No, Carpe, he actually manages to pick it up in the end. And so Carpe in the back line, trying to keep that damage rolling. We do have the Transcendence used by Shaz. Shaz kind of quiet so far with the kills. It's really just going Philadelphia's way. Gladiators are kind of crumbling here. Their armor, it's splitting apart.
Carpe has gone an absolute madman, and the nice thing is they have Shadowburn to lock these doors. The last thing you want to do is try to get out a door when there's got a man with a samurai sword. Here it comes.
Yeah, perfect positioning. Target acquisition is on point. Asher is gone. Gonna come back and help out his team now to go ahead and just get the cleanup on iRemix, but he was not able to pick up Big Goose, and so Big Goose will be there with the res, will be there with the foul. Is that enough staying power, though?
Well, the important thing is they took down Neptuno, and there goes Boombox. There is no more staying power on the side of this Philadelphia offense. They have no more heals. It has to be pure mechanics, and that is a dash that takes down both tanks before Shadowburn finally goes down. Resurrection's there. Defender's advantage means respawn advantage. Gonna need a miracle. Carpe looks for it.
And Big Goose, that was a play, man. Just going for the slow res as well, right in the middle of everything. Picks up iRemix again in the nick of time. You really needed to have that tank in there to just sustain and grind down Philadelphia Fusion at the end. So Philadelphia, they'll only get the 2 points here.
2.9 points, I suppose.
Okay,
It's not exactly at 3. It's about as far as you can push it before you can get all the way to the end.
Let's just break out the measuring tape while we're at it. I don't know, Shamler.
No, luckily that it's already measured digitally because numbers and me do not get along.
What always made me laugh, though, is that they went with the metric system in Overwatch.
Yeah, not the freedom system.
Exactly.
We're
right.
also used to.
Do you know what a meter is? How does that work?
Yeah. It's like 45 feet. Is that close?
Yeah, that sounds exactly it. I am, in fact, 60 feet tall.
I would believe it, but my perspective on height is also a little bit off. What you may be noticing in the kill feed, if you're just looking at that, is that the Zenyatas are dying very early in these fights, and that is not the Zenyatas' faults. It's their fault because they're so good. This is a matchup about embracing tranquility. Boombox and Shaz have been some of the best Zenyatas in all of Overwatch for, I want to say, a 6-month span now. So they are definitely primary targets for the opposing team. So they're going down early. The rest of the team has to pick it up because you can't commit that many resources to trying to just protect your Zenyatta. You just have to realize they're going to get our Zen, we're going to go get theirs, and then we'll see what happens after that.
You got to balance it out. I mean, Shaz is going to be a target of priority as well. Not only is he support, but I mean, we've seen highlight reels of this guy just landing orb after orb, picking up kill after kill, and so he is a serious threat when it comes to the damage side of things as well.
Throughout the preseason, he was second in about every Zenyatta stat possible, and no one was overall better than him. He brings so much value to his team that if you can take Shaz out of the mix, you're going to be in a good spot. The Gladiators will take Shaz out of the mix themselves as he's going to flex onto Hanzo. This is a very standard composition out here, although no Bastion, just, well, no, last second switch. He does switch off it onto the standard dive composition of the Los Angeles Gladiators.
All right, sticking to what's worked, sticking to what they're used to, but I am a bit surprised not to see a Bastion in play. Perhaps a little worried that teams are starting to get used to the strategy, trying to figure out their own anti-strats. That is a bit of a scary sight. Did you just see the Widow drifting like a leaf on the wind, floating? looking to sting.
Yeah, it's more of a Hornet than a Leaf. I'm not so scared of Leaves, but Hornets, it would be more akin to Widowmaker here. So just kind of feeling each other out. A bloodless fight so far. No one really even taking all that much damage. These defenses have been pretty tentative on the first point.
Big Goose isn't going to be too unhappy about this, though. He's getting pretty close to Valk very early on here. Already past the 65% mark, and Bishu just creating a bit more space here. Just going to go charging right through, but he can do that because he's D.Va. He's got the defense matrix to cover his back and allow him to get out, but unfortunately, they lose iRemix in that mix, and so Gladiators, they're going to have to be a little bit patient here.
Well, all the healing was going to Bishu, and Remix was kind of the man left behind there, and he gave his life for it. A very spread out here. There's a Widow battle going on the bottom side. That actually might determine who's the next aggressor. If their Widow gets the pick, you might see the defense dive in, and conversely so for the offense as well.
Super risky, though. I mean, Asher just launching himself out there. If he is caught off guard, he must have an idea of where Carpe is playing from. But Carpe will have the infrared in just a moment's time. So that's going to limit Asher's opportunity here, or his options.
They need to spread out these heals a little bit more, because that's the second time that Remix just went down immediately in that fight, and that has stalled it out. The last minute or so, they've been unable to push because you need your tank in there at least softening up some of these targets. The Winston actually makes Widow's job that much easier. Instead of having to hit headshots, you can just finish people with body shots.
Yeah, exactly right. Got that Tesla at work. Hydration in the back line. Man, a bit too hot to handle there. Doesn't want to really get involved too much. When you're staring down 5, Reflect is cool, but it runs out eventually. Your arms get tired.
Is that how that works?
That is exactly, even though he's a robot, obviously. I mean,
hey, robot arms still tired.
I just imagine Mercy running after him with like a can of oil. Like, hold on, come here, you're squeaking. You're squeaking again.
Great idea. Tin Man skin for Genji, please.
Please make it happen.
Let's acquire that IP.
Oh, I mean, you got the man in question right there kind of dancing around, and it looks like they are going to commit to this, and they're going to play off a Big Goose with the Valkyrie. Hoping to find the initial kill. Asher will create some space by taking down Shadowburn. That is a lot of damage out the window, but sure enough, Neptuno is there with the res, and Poco in the meantime charges down iRemix. He has the self-destruct as well, so we'll keep an eye on him, see when he decides to use it, and sure enough, out in the open, going to force them back.
It's a bit of a desperation self-destruct, not exactly the practice angle we're used to seeing from Poco. He just wanted a new mech, was hoping to maybe catch people out there, but that wasn't a patented Poco bomb, as it were. Boombox out in no man's land. No man is an island, and no man is going to be alive much after this. As Mercy comes in last second, though, finally finished off.
Hydration was just savoring that moment, X. He's taking his time. He knew that Zen wasn't going anywhere. So,
if you've ever been kicked in the face by a Zen, then you know the shame that brings, and you tuck that memory away and you will take your sweet revenge. They will eventually grab first point. That's a very good first point defense.
Yeah, solid. Only 3 minutes here to make it through the streets, and we saw how Philadelphia Fusion struggled to push through this portion of the map. And so it's on Gladiators now to break apart that defense as quickly as possible. Bishu showing him, his happy dance there on the payload with the mech.
So they're going to want to hold high ground here, and they're going to wait for Fraggy because he has his supercharger ready. That gives everyone more damage, spreads out so that everyone is able to one-shot people. Shadowburn will be the main beneficiary, laying down so much explosive splash damage.
All right. What are they going to do to be able to actually break this up? It is just going to have to be the commit. Full in jump, but there's so much damage. The Reflect, though, still doesn't stop Shadowburn from picking up the frag in the end, and Carpe is there to annihilate Bishu, D-Mac, and D-Live.
There was a time when Junkrat only had one mine, and that would have been a great play to reflect the one mine back, but he's got a second charge in there, and then beyond that, his primary fire is so good. Shadowburn's so mechanically gifted, and he's a great projectile player overall, so that projectile play does translate into being a hit direct grenades on the Junkrat.
Yeah, between him and Carpe, Philadelphia Fusion are really impressed with their offensive line. I mean, everybody's kind of a standout player here on this team, and so right now, we do have the Riptire ready for Shadowburn. We'll see if he decides to use it this fight. Big Go's going to be able to get that reflected. He's actually worried about the flank still, but it seems like he's going to commit point blank right in the face of Hydration, the big brother of the concussive mind.
Well, they will bring him back to life. Now it should be Neptuno who should be bringing people back to life. They had a different order idea, and because of that order, Philadelphia might come out of this on top. The response was Philadelphia to transcend while the other team was Valkyrying, and now the higher value ultimate comes on later, and Philly will clean up because of it.
There we go. You saw the moment's hesitation there from Carpe, and that's usually when you actually mess up the shot. What he needed to do was just flick. You just need to make it quick. Don't think about it too much. Don't hesitate.
Yeah.
Just be zen.
It's
Whoa.
it's very easy to overthink Widowmaker shots. That's why I don't hit any, because I'm too smart. That's what I say. I'm just thinking too much.
I just got that gif. All of the mathematical equations, you know,
Exactly.
you glancing it from one to the next, Coriolis effect, etc. The shots aren't that long, but what I am curious to see now is if Gladiators are going to be able to pull this together, because this is shaping up to be the last fight. 35 seconds left on the clock for them to push forward. Philadelphia Fusion were able to do it in overtime. Right now they're trading frags back and forth, though. Carpe going to work. Fantastic defense from him so far with the help of his teammates, but Shaz is there to take down Neptuno, and so a lot of healing has been lost now for the defense. Gladiators, they might have an opening.
It's so important. Boombox is going to keep them away. It looks like they wanted to do a soft reset on the offensive push here. Big Goose goes down very late, though. They're going to have to push this in desperation mode, trying to toe tap it just to stay alive. The tanks are getting in position to do so, and they're going to be really hard pressed to get anything going here.
Yeah, instantly counter dove. Now Hydration is going to try to make the best out of it that he can. He could get hunted down, but it doesn't look like Poco's interested. Poco content to go after Bishu. Those high HP targets, you can always get rid of the squishies afterwards. Just make sure that the Winston isn't around to just hop around and be a nuisance. We do actually have the Tracer in play now, though. That's Asher just trying to buy as much time as possible. He is still alive. He's going to have, yeah, he did have the pulse, but it doesn't look like he got anything out of it. It got eaten.
Got sucked up by the Diva's future vacuum right there, eats explosives and doesn't think about anything. It's a new advancement in Roomba technology, and that is the Philadelphia Fusion winning that map.
First Mac picked up from the away team. Again, Los Angeles, it is not their day so far, Hex. 5 maps in a row that they have not won.
It's another new composition kind of synergy happening. They were never able to deal with Carpe's Widow because there was always a Junkrat there. Just never able to get back there. And it's protecting your main output of damage.
Now, Shadowburn, everybody on Philadelphia Fusion really standing out. It is going to be up to the Gladiators now to try and bring it back on the next map, which will be Assault. And we'll have to see because it could just keep being the Carpe show.